Discover the incredible moment a billionaire offered a hug. What happened next was life-changing. Jenna was just a hardworking single mother, scraping by at the local diner in their small Midwestern town until that night. The charity event was buzzing with excitement, and everyone was on edge for Evan Sterling's arrival. News traveled fast about the billionaire who was there to lend a hand to the struggling community. But no one knew just how profound his impact would be. When Jenna took the microphone, her voice trembled. "I'm just a mom," she said, glancing at her teenage son, Tyler, who stood proud among their friends and neighbors. "All I want is to see my son achieve his dreams. To have a shot at a future." Her rough hands shook as she spoke of late nights and early mornings, of waiting tables and washing dishes just to keep the lights on. The room fell silent, eyes glistening with empathy as they connected with her struggles. The weight of her life poured out in that moment, raw and genuine. Then, as if sensing the urgency in her plea, Evan emerged from the crowd. He walked straight to Jenna, and the murmurs faded into a stillness that felt electric. The townsfolk watched, mouths agape, as he wrapped his arms around her in an unexpected hug. Jenna's heart raced. In that embrace, she felt seen and understood, a moment of pure human connection amidst turmoil. The room erupted in a web of shared smiles and tears, a communal sense of hope igniting in the air, but the warmth of that hug faded fast. The next morning, headlines splashed across local papers, "Billionaire's hug sparks hope." Suddenly, Jenna was no longer just a single mother. She was a symbol, thrust into the spotlight, and with it came an avalanche of attention. It was exhilarating and terrifying. She felt exposed, like a deer in headlights, as she struggled to adjust to her new role. Meanwhile, Tyler looked at her with both pride and concern. The whispers of opportunity from Evan echoed in his mind, full scholarships and the promise of a bright future. Suddenly, decisions loomed large. "Mom, what if I could go to college, really go?" Tyler's eyes sparkled with possibilities. But Jenna felt conflicted. "That's a big ask, Tyler. What about our home, our community?" The thought of abandoning their small-town roots gripped her heart with pangs of guilt. What would it mean for them? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the town buzzed with excitement and resentment alike, tensions flared. At a heated town hall meeting, voices rose against Evan, questioning his motives. Jenna stood there, feeling the weight of her community's expectations. "We work hard," she said, her voice steady. "We don't want handouts crafted from privilege. We want respect, integrity." Her heart pounded. It was her moment. This wasn't just about their family's future. It was about them all. She could see confusion, anger, and even fear reflected in the crowd's faces. Tears held in her eyes. She knew they were all grappling with something deeper, something unsettling. Jenna's determination was fierce. Will we let divides of wealth tear us apart? Or rise together in understanding? The room bristled, silence thick with contemplation. As Jenna fervently spoke, she wondered, would they really find connection, or was it too late? In that moment, the future felt uncertain, and the stakes had never been higher. Would she dare to accept a hand that could either lift them or pull them apart? Jenna stepped back from the microphone, her heart racing. The words hung heavy in the air, and she could feel the energy shift among those gathered. Some looked at her with admiration, while others wore expressions that were anything but friendly. It was a mixture of gratitude and resentment that wrapped around her like a cold shroud. Tyler stood in the audience, his eyes wide, reflecting the intense emotions writhing within the crowd. She could see him clutching his friend's hands tightly, as if grounding himself amid the swirling atmosphere. The school cafeteria where they had spent countless evenings watching local theater productions suddenly felt like a battleground. "Jenna, what you said was courageous," came a voice from her left. It was Doris, an elderly woman who had witnessed the town's struggles for decades. "But Evan Sterling isn't here to save us. We have to do it ourselves." A chorus of murmurs followed her statement, some agreeing, others dissenting. "I know that." Jenna raised her voice, hoping to pierce through the swirling confusion. "I didn't mean to imply we can't make our own changes. But can't we explore this opportunity? I can't help but think, what if he wants to invest in our future? This could be a chance to bring resources right into our backyard." Skepticism flashed in the eyes of many. The fear of being dependent on outside help was palpable. Jenna could sense their hesitance, the pain of past disappointments that clouded their judgment. It was her job to turn that skepticism into hope. Suddenly, her phone buzzed in her pocket. Ignoring it for a moment, Jenna continued, "We can work hard and also accept help when it's offered. It doesn't mean we are weak, it means we're strong enough to know when we need assistance." Doris nodded slowly, but some town members shifted irritably in their seats. Evan's wealth felt like an alien presence. They were used to standing on their own 2 feet. "Let us face it," shouted Mark, a local farmer. "What do we know about this man? He comes here, gives a hug, and suddenly we're supposed to trust him. What's his agenda?" A wave of agreement swelled from his supporters. The feelings of distrust swirled between bitterness and longing. It was like two sides of a coin, hope for something better and fear of being let down again. Jenna felt herself being pulled in every direction, her mind racing. "Maybe we should meet Evan again," she said, her voice now softer but firm. "If he wants to invest in our future, let us confront him about it. We need transparency. I want to believe that we deserve better." The room buzzed with chatter. Discussion sparked, each voice coloring the air with energy. Jenna felt the spark of unity, even in disagreement. Yes, they had their doubts, but she saw something else, potential. As the meeting wound down, Jenna could feel eyes lingering on her. She sensed they were beginning to reconsider, to trust at least a little more in her vision for what could be. Grateful whispers replaced the discontent, conversations blossomed about community unity. Tyler walked closer, his gaze searching her face, full of questions, admiration, and a bit of apprehension. "Do you really think he'll listen, Mom?" With newfound energy, Jenna felt her spirit lift. "I hope so, sweetie. And if he doesn't, we'll figure it out together. That's what family does." As the crowd dispersed, an unexpected thought crossed her mind. Jenna glanced at her phone. So many notifications had piled up. Was it just their town? Or was the world watching her now? With hope on the horizon and uncertainty simmering beneath, Jenna wondered what would happen next. Would Evan Sterling engage in a genuine conversation, or would her community's fears push him away? The stakes had never been higher. As a chill ran down her spine, she knew it was time to confront the billionaire once again. The moment of truth was coming. Would she find an ally or expose a deeper divide? The sun dipped below the rooftops, casting long shadows across the town square. Jenna sat on the swing at the park, her mind spinning with a whirlwind of thoughts. Tyler pushed a little dirt around with the toe of his sneaker, glancing up at her periodically, trying to gauge her mood. "Mom, are you okay?" he finally asked, breaking the silence. The concern in his voice punctured her deep thinking. "I'm okay, buddy," she replied, forcing a smile. "Just thinking about tomorrow." "Are you scared?" Tyler asked, his eyes wide with the innocence of youth mixed with a maturity that sometimes surprised her. "Scared is one way to put it. I just want to do right by everyone. I want them to trust me and Evan. What if he turns out to be a bad guy?" Tyler pointed out, voice low. "You know what the townspeople say." Jenna sighed, absorbing her son's question. "That's the thing, isn't it? Everyone's so quick to see the worst in him. I mean, how do you know until you try? Like that one time we tried sushi and you almost threw up. Tyler chuckled, breaking the tension. She laughed, the sound warmer now. Exactly. It seemed scary at first, but it turned out I actually liked it. Just then, her phone buzzed again, a text from Doris, urging them all to meet at the community center early the next day. The anticipation of the meeting started to build once more in her chest, smothering the calm. Jenna took a deep breath, grounding herself as the sky shifted to a dusky blue. Mom, do you think people can change? Tyler's question hung in the air, drawing her attention fully back to him. She considered for a moment, her heart swelling with the memories of small-town struggles. I think they can, especially if they're given a chance. People are complicated, and fear can make us act in ways we don't want to. Tyler nodded, his small brow furrowing in thought. But do you really trust him? The weight of her truth pressed down on her. Trust was a fickle thing. She wanted so badly to believe in the possibility of change, to believe that Evan could be an ally. I want to. I have to, in order to help us all move forward. As darkness settled around them, Jenna felt a rush of warmth as Tyler squeezed her hand. We'll be there with you, okay? We're all a team. Jenna's heart swelled with gratitude for her son. She needed that support tomorrow, more than he realized. And that's why I believe we can do this, she said softly, determination igniting behind her words. The next day dawned with a sense of eagerness and anxiety wrapped tightly together. Jenna pulled into the community center parking lot, her hands gripping the wheel, wondering what awaited her inside. As she stepped through the doors, the murmurs of voices reached her ears, a blend of both hope and apprehension. When she spotted Evan across the room, she felt her pulse race. He was engaged in conversation, laughing with a few townsfolk, his presence magnetic. Jenna swallowed hard, her heartbeat echoing in her ears. Remember, Mom, Tyler whispered beside her, breaking her moment of intensity. We're a family. We can stand together. Jenna nodded, drawing strength from her son. She stepped forward, heart pounding, ready to confront the unknown. Would Evan Sterling be an ally, or would his true intentions tear her community even further apart? The question loomed above her like a storm cloud, heavy and dangerous. The moment of truth loomed closer, and with every step she took, she felt the tension build. What would unfold in that room? Would hope emerge, or frustration grip the townspeople tighter than ever? Tomorrow was uncertain, but today, she was ready to chase down answers. As Jenna moved deeper into the community center, the noise of friendly chatter faded into a dull hum. She felt as if the weight of everyone's expectations was pressing against her. Old wooden floors creaked underfoot, mingling with the anxious energy swirling around her. Tyler stayed close, his small hand squeezing hers reassuringly. We got this, he murmured, echoing reassurance he didn't even fully understand. Ahead, Evan stood, his easy laughter reaching her. He caught her eye and tilted his head slightly, a welcoming gesture filled with warmth that made her stomach twist. This was the moment. With a deep breath, she approached, Tyler right beside her. Thank you all for being here, Evan said as glimpses of curiosity flickered through the crowd. I know there have been doubts, and some of you have heard things about me, things that may have colored your view. A murmur rippled through the crowd, but he pressed on. Jenna couldn't help but be captivated by the sincerity in his voice. He was trying to smooth things over, and for a brief moment, she felt impulsively hopeful. Change doesn't come easily, but together, we can pave a new path, he continued, earning nods from a few listeners. Yet, there were others crossing their arms, skepticism twisted on their faces. Jenna's heart raced. She could feel the tension thickening as some stood rigid, clearly hesitant to let their guard down. Evan, what do you expect from us? A voice called from the back. It belonged to Doris. Her sharp demeanor filled the room with an electricity that momentarily halted Evan's charismatic momentum. Doris, it's fair to ask, he replied, looking unwaveringly at her. I expect transparency, collaboration, and a willingness to embrace possibilities. Jenna could see Doris weighing his words, but did they really mean anything? In that instant, the growing uncertainty cloaked Jenna in doubt. Was Evan prepared for the reality of this tight-knit town? The back and forth continued, voices rising and falling, each side teetering on the edge of potential and resistance. It struck Jenna how fear had infinite voices, each vying for attention. Then, unexpectedly, Tyler tugged at her hand. "Mom, look!" He pointed to the group of children gathered at the edge of the room, wide-eyed and whispering among themselves. Their innocence stood in stark contrast to the heaviness of adult anxieties. They had no baggage, no preconceived notions. "Maybe they can be the bridge," Tyler suggested, eyes sparkling with hopeful wisdom. Jenna's heart softened at the sight. Kids were fearless, often willing to jump without looking. "You might be right," she whispered back, startled by the idea. Just then, Evan took a step toward the children, kneeling down to meet their curious gazes. "Hey there, who wants to show me how to play?" He flashed his infectious smile, and slowly, a few hands shot up. The tension in the room shifted. Jenna felt her breath hitch as people leaned in, intrigued. Could this be the moment everyone needed? Evan was shifting gears, focusing on the pure joy that came from connection, hope blooming from unexpected places. As laughter erupted from the children's corner, Jenna felt something inside her stir. Might just be that hope she'd been trying to grasp. The noise of skepticism dimmed as the children's laughter filled the air, soothing the worries of the adults, but just as Jenna's churning emotions began to settle, Doris interjected harshly, "This is all just a game. A distraction. We need real answers, Evan." The room fell silent, and Jenna's heart dropped. The moment of unity was crumbling beneath the weight of harsh words. She could see the conversation on the brink of chaos. What would happen next? Would Doris's words ignite a fire of anger, or could the laughter of the children rebuff the rising storm? Jenna's breath caught in her throat as she prepared to step forward, the gravity of the moment reminding her that sometimes, standing up for what was right meant risking everything. Jenna's heart raced as she locked eyes with Evan, who stood up straight again, determination etched across his face. The laughter from the children faded, replaced by an overwhelming tension. Doris had thrown a boulder into the pond of their hopeful moment, and ripples of uncertainty began to spread. Let us not dismiss the joy these kids bring. Evan's voice rang out, strong and sincere. He wasn't going to back down. Laughter and play are powerful. They remind us of what we're truly working towards, a community that thrives together. Jenna's pulse quickened. She saw some in the crowd nodding, slowly coming around to Evan's side, but others remained skeptical, unsure. Doris crossed her arms tighter, her eyebrows knitted together. What do children know about the real problems we face? Doris challenged, her tone cutting like glass. They know about kindness, Tyler piped up, his small voice clear and unwavering. A few gasps sounded around the room. Jenna's heart swelled at her son's courage. Tyler. She whispered, excitement lacing her voice. But he stood tall, undeterred. Kids can show us how to fix things, Tyler continued, eyes bright with conviction. They believe in each other. If they can play and smile, then we can too. Jenna felt a warmth radiating from the laughter of the young ones, the innocent energy igniting something in her chest. Could Tyler really be onto something? If hope could come from their smiles, why not give it a chance? Evan crouched again, gentle yet persuasive. You're absolutely right, Tyler. If we want real change, we need to start with the acceptance and joy that our children embody. They're not distractions, they're our very insight into how to repair our community. At that moment, an elderly gentleman named Mr. Jenkins, who usually sat quietly in the back, rose slowly to his feet. The room turned toward him as if he were a beacon breaking through the fog. I've lived here long enough to see the world changing, he said, his voice shaky but resolute. And I've seen how children bring us together. Maybe we should listen to them. Small murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Jenna felt hope swell again. But then she noticed Doris's face contorting with disbelief. Listen to kids. Doris scoffed. That's absurd. We need to be adults, not children playing games. Being an adult doesn't mean we stop listening, Jenna spoke up, surprising even herself. The room was silent again. We've all been stuck in these patterns, and it's time to break free. If children can play together, we try to come together as well? For a fleeting moment, Jenna could see the flicker of understanding in some eyes. A lightness tenuous yet tangible started to weave through the crowd. Suddenly, one of the children from the play corner shouted, "Let us have a hug," and rushed toward Evan. Without skipping a beat, he crouched down, wrapping the child in an embrace. More kids followed, giggling and joining the mass. The sight stirred something in Jenna. She could feel tears pricking at the corners of her eyes. It was as if a dam had broken, laughter and joy flooded the room, but Doris stood her ground, her face a mask of defiance. You can't build a community on hugs and smiles. Jenna felt that familiar fire inside her flare once again. Maybe we start there. The room hung in stasis, a battle between hope and doubt. As whispers grew louder, Jenna took a step closer to Evan, feeling the warmth of his enthusiasm beside her. Could this be a turning point? Before she could frame her thoughts, a loud crash sounded from the back. Jenna turned sharply, fear blooming in the pit of her stomach. What now? Jenna's heart raced as she spun around to face the sound. A wooden chair had toppled over in the far corner, scattering toys across the floor. Gasps filled the air, and for a moment, the room felt frozen in panic. She caught a glimpse of a young girl, her eyes wide as she crouched beside the mess, fear mixed with confusion. "Evan," she called, urgency spilling from her lips. "They need us to reassure them." Before she could take a step forward, Evan was already rushing over to the child, his presence a calming force. He knelt beside her, offering a reassuring smile. "Hey there, it's okay. Accidents happen. Let us clean this up together." The energy in the room shifted. Children began to pick up the fallen toys, their giggles returning as they rallied around Evan's guidance. Jenna watched, feeling her heart swell with hope once more. Amid the chaos, the kids weren't just playing, they were showing the adults how to cope with setbacks, how to find joy in messiness, but Doris's voice sliced through the moment. "This is exactly what I'm talking about. Just look at this. If we let them control the situation, we're lost." Jenna's stomach churned at Doris's negativity. But instead of responding, she focused on the children. "Look at how they've rallied together," she shouted. "They aren't afraid of making mistakes, they embrace them. That's where we all need to start." The crowd shifted, expressions softening. There were still skeptics, but Jenna noticed others leaning in, captivated by the spark of unity growing among the children. "Play is the heart of collaboration," Evan added, speaking clearly. "It's how they communicate. As they build and create, they're showing us the importance of working together." Doris crossed her arms tighter, her jaw clenched. "Then what? Are we to watch them play while real issues loom over us? It's naive." "Naive or not, it's a start," Jenna said, her tone steady. She stood up straighter, determination fueling her words. "If we don't embrace their spirit of partnership, we're just letting the problems win. We can't let fear dictate our paths. Maybe it's time to let kids lead the way for a change." Some in the crowd began to murmur in agreement. It was finally happening, she could feel a shift, a crack in the rigid walls of doubt. Then, a particularly brave boy from the group stepped forward, eyes shining with bravado. "Can we make a community game? Like a treasure hunt?" His enthusiasm was contagious, drawing smiles all around. "Yeah. A game that brings everyone together," cried a girl with pigtails, her face lit up with excitement. "Exactly." Evan beamed. "What if we encouraged everyone from kids to adults to collaborate and play?" As if a dam had broken, laughter spread. Even Doris's face faltered, a hint of intrigue creeping in. The children's ideas sparked something in the onlookers, and slowly, hesitant smiles began to form among the adults. What if this really was the answer they'd all been searching for? Jenna felt a rush of warmth flow through her. Could they turn this chaotic moment into a chance for connection? But just then, amidst the rising voices and hopeful chatter, the back door swung open with a thud. Jenna turned to see a tall figure step into the room, a man in a crisp suit, his expression serious. She felt the air shift again, a collective intake of breath. "Excuse me," the man said, his voice commanding. "I heard there was a meeting here about community engagement. I think I can help in ways you've never imagined." The room fell silent, every pair of eyes fixed on the newcomer. Who was he, and what could he possibly offer in this moment of uncertainty? Jenna could hardly breathe as curiosity mixed with apprehension. What was coming next? The man stepped forward, a confident gleam in his eyes. Jenna felt a rush of questions surge inside her. Who did he think he was, rolling in here like a knight in shining armor? Yet there was something oddly magnetic about him. The air felt charged, like a storm brewing just beneath the surface. "Hi, everyone," he began, his voice smooth like honey. "I'm David Carter. I've dedicated my life to creating community engagement initiatives, and I believe you're doing something extraordinary here." He gestured to the buzzing group of children. "There's a beautiful energy in this room, and I want to help harness it." Doris shot a skeptical glance at David. "And why would we trust you? Just another suit trying to cash in on our struggles?" "Trust is earned," David replied, unfazed by her challenge. "Let me show you. I believe in the power of play, just like your kids do. But it takes more resources, connections, perhaps even funding to truly make a lasting impact." His words hung in the air, stirring a combination of hope and disbelief. Jenna knew what was at stake. This could be a turning point, but it felt too good to be true. Would this man really help them? "All we need is a start, and that's exactly what I can offer," David continued, looking directly at the children's enthusiasm. "Imagine putting together a community-wide treasure hunt where families are engaged, working together, forging bonds. We could fund games, events, you name it." The kids erupted with delight, their laughter spilling like sunlight in that stuffy room. Evan leaned closer to Jenna, his excitement palpable. "Did you hear that? This could change everything." Yet, Jenna's heart trembled with uncertainty. "But at what cost, Evan? We can't lose sight of what matters most, this connection we're building here." David caught the flicker of doubt in her eyes. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "I understand your concern, truly. But sometimes you have to take a leap of faith to reach new heights. You've already shown that combining children's creativity with community spirit is vital. Let me help amplify that." A hum of conversation sparked in the crowd. Some were cautiously optimistic, while others remained weary of David's intentions. Doris's frown deepened, clearly not swayed by the enthusiasm surrounding her, but something about this moment felt different. Jenna could sense the gravity shifting, the collective breath of hope catching fire. Could this stranger genuinely want to help? The room buzzed with ideas. What if we organized a community festival to celebrate our spirit? Jenna suggested, her heart racing with the thrill of possibility. Or a weekly game day. Another child added excitedly. "I love it." David smiled, processing their enthusiasm. "Let us align our resources and turn your ideas into reality. Together, we can create something powerful." As excitement enveloped the room, whispers of agreement surged. Evan turned to Jenna, eyes shining bright. "This is our chance, isn't it? To try something big?" Yet, beneath the excitement, Jenna could feel her heart drum an anxious rhythm. The risk of failure loomed like a heavy cloud. Would they truly be able to take this leap? Before Jenna could voice her concerns, David continued, "And I want to offer you something a little unconventional. A community hug, an event that symbolizes unity, kindness, and shared experiences. Imagine the power in that. In that moment, an unexpected warmth swept through her. For all their differences, here was an opportunity to come together. Everyone gathered, eyes as bright as the sun, waiting to see how this dream might unfold, but just as Jenna felt the weight of hope press into her chest, a loud crash echoed from the hallway. The door flew open again, startling everyone. A frantic woman stumbled in, her face pale and breathless. "I'm sorry to barge in, but there is something you all need to know. It's urgent." The air shifted, a heavy silence falling. What news could possibly append this moment of possibility? Jenna glanced at Evan, fear creeping back in. What was about to happen next? The woman paused, scanning the room with frantic eyes. She looked as if she'd just sprinted a marathon. The laughter and chatter from moments ago faded into a tense quiet, everyone hanging on her every word. "Please, listen to me," she said, trying to catch her breath. "I just came from the community center down the street. There's a budget meeting happening, and the council is planning to cut funding for children's programs. If you don't do something quickly, everything you've worked for could be gone." Jenna's stomach twisted. A pit of dread settled in her chest. The hopeful plans David had just laid out seemed suddenly fragile. All those dreams of a community hug, a festival, and a treasure hunt now felt like a house of cards teetering on the edge, ready to collapse. "Are you sure?" Doris asked, her previous skepticism giving way to concern. "Did they say when?" "Tomorrow," the woman replied, her voice shaking. "A vote. It's all so last minute. If we don't rally everyone to fight for these programs, we could lose everything: this space, the programs for the kids, everything." Around the room, the kids sat in stunned silence. The air that had brimmed with excitement moments before felt leaden now. Jenna looked at David, who now wore an expression of determination, his brow furrowed like he was already plotting a way forward. "Okay, we won to let this happen," David declared, stepping forward once more. His smooth voice had changed, filled with urgency. "What we need is to gather our community tonight. We'll hold a meeting, generate some buzz. We've already started building energy here. Let us use it." Evan's eyes sparkled with a mix of fear and determination. "Yes. We can spread the word everyone would want to know. This is our chance to stand up for what we believe in." But doubt tightened its grip around Jenna's heart. What if it's too late? What if we fail? "Jenna," David said gently, closing the distance between them. "You're stronger than you think. Everything you and these children have built is worth fighting for. We can stand together, and when people see this room, the laughter, the creativity, they will understand its importance. We just have to show them." Jenna felt a flicker of hope ignite deep within her. Perhaps this wasn't just a setback, perhaps it was a call to action. "Let us make signs," a child shouted, breaking through the tension. "We can paint them and march in front of City Hall." "Great idea." Evan chimed in. "We can all talk to our neighbors, spread the word online. Make it big." As the excitement began to build again, the room lit up with energy once more. Jenna felt the rush of adrenaline fueling her resolve. They were in this together, and David was right: what they had was worth fighting for. "Okay," Jenna said, her voice steady. "Let us do this. We're not going to let them take away what we've built." The group rallied, voices merging into a chorus of encouragement, every face filled with determination. As plans formed and ideas bounced from child to adult, Jenna felt courage swell within her. In the face of a looming threat, their community was ready to rise, but just as the chatter crescendoed, the urgent woman suddenly spoke up again. "Wait. There is something more, something you really need to know about the funding cuts." Jenna's heart sank again. What could be worse than what they just heard? Suddenly, it felt like the entire room had hit pause, holding its breath for the next revelation. What new hurdle would they now have to face? The woman swallowed hard, her eyes darting around the room, landing on each face filled with a mix of hope and trepidation. The cuts go deeper than just our programs, she began, her voice barely above a whisper. If the council approves this, they won't just be cutting funding for today. They're planning to sell the community center itself. Gasps echoed through the group, a collective intake of breath that seemed to hang suspended in the air. Jenna felt as if the ground beneath her had shifted, a sinking feeling clawing at her insides. The community center wasn't just a building, it was a refuge, a home for so many people. It was where they gathered to celebrate, to grow, to heal. Without it, everything they had built felt threatened, more fragile than ever. We can't let this happen. David's voice rang out with renewed fervor. We've got to organize like never before. Let us not only rally but also show the council this place matters, show them our stories. Yeah. A child yelled, fists raised in the air. We need to show them how fun it is here. Jenna's heart lifted at the sight of the kids energizing the crowd, but doubt tempered her excitement. But how do we convince them? What can we do that's different from what we've done before? Leave that to us, David said. His gaze anchored her, a steady warmth in the fray. We'll gather everyone tonight and share their stories. Each kid, each parent, all the lives this center touches. We need to capture the heart of this place. If we show them the power of our community, they'll have no choice but to listen. Jenna nodded, excitement blending with fear. I'll reach out to families and friends. We can gather testimonials, videos, anything we can use to paint the picture of why this center matters. Perfect. David grinned, and the energy in the room shifted, morphing into a shared mission. Let us break into groups. Some of us can make signs, others can create a social media campaign. We need to spread the word far and wide. As they dived into their tasks, Jenna felt the heaviness lift while adrenaline pumped through her veins. Creativity flooded the space as they painted bright posters, their messages bold and defiant, save our center. And no cuts to kids. The buzz of inspiration and determination filled her. Jenna overheard snippets of laughter and words of encouragement, the power of togetherness infusing each moment. But amid the chaos, the seeds of worry still lingered in her mind. What if they didn't have enough time? What if their efforts fell flat? Jenna! Shouted Evan, holding up a sign they had just finished painting. Look! What do you think? The vibrant colors danced in the light, and Jenna couldn't help but smile. It's amazing. Just like this community. A sense of connection surged through her as she reflected on how far they had come. The laughter, the unity they needed to show the council what came alive within those walls. But just as hope began to bloom, the urgent woman stepped forward again, voice trembling. I forgot to mention, there's a reason they're pushing these cuts so hard, and it's not just budgetary concerns. Jenna's heart raced. What more could there be? What hidden agendas lurked behind this decision? As the group fell silent, waiting for answers, Jenna felt a chill run down her spine. Their fight was only just beginning. What other forces were at play, and would they be strong enough to withstand them? The room held its breath, eyes fixed on the urgent woman as she hesitated, gathering her thoughts before delivering the bombshell that hung in the air. The council is looking to sell the building because there's a developer who wants to put in a luxury complex, she finally exclaimed. Murmurs of disbelief danced among the crowd, a collective shudder of shock spreading like wildfire. Jenna's heart sank. The community center, a lifeline for so many, was at risk of being replaced by something cold and impersonal. Not just any building, Jenna began, stepping forward, voice rising with determination. It's our home. Where we've shared our lives. Her words stirred something in the crowd, murmurs shifted into supportive nods, and spirits ignited with recognition. Tyler squeezed her hand, a gentle grounding presence amid the escalating emotions. Mom, we can save it, right? His eyes sparkled with young hope. Jenna looked into her son's shining gaze and felt the weight of countless dreams resting on their shoulders. We have to try, Tyler. This community means everything. It's more than just a building, it's the heart of us. Can we make that the rallying cry? Evan interjected, excitement lacing his words. Let us make it about connection, about memories, about us standing together. A campaign focused on the real stories, our triumphs and struggles. If we show them the impact this place has, they'll see how losing it would destroy our community. A cheering roar broke out, voices intertwining as people began to gather around, sharing ideas fiercely. Posters began to take shape, filled with drawings of their most valuable memories at the center, children playing, families celebrating, friends supporting one another. This is it. Jenna felt her excitement bubbling over. She grabbed a big cardboard sheet and began sketching out ideas, driven by the spirit of those around her. We need to tell our stories, each one of us. And we'll gather everyone tomorrow to show that the heart of our community beats together. Doris, once so skeptical, stepped forward, her face glowing with pride. I'll call the local radio station, get them to cover our fight. She sounded fierce and unwavering. Others quickly joined in to add their support. The atmosphere was electric, every face reflected hope, tenacity, and a desire for change. As the night wore on, Jenna could hardly keep up with the momentum swirling around her. Tyler and his friends painted up a storm, turning simple arguments into radiant banners. Save our center. Our community, our heart. The kids laughed, the joy in the air palpable and contagious. Just as she felt the spark of hope flickering brighter, the sudden ring of her phone pulled Jenna back to reality. A text from Doris, they're scared of your power. Stand united. Meet tonight at the council meeting. The reality hit hard. Tomorrow, they would stand before the council. Tomorrow, they would have their say. Tomorrow, they had to fight for their future. A wave of anxiety threatened to wash over her. What if they don't listen? Her voice trembled, uncertainty creeping back in as she turned back to Evan, but he took a step closer, squeezing her shoulder reassuringly. They will, he replied firmly. We're not just a collection of individuals anymore. We're family. Families fight together. You believed in this vision. Now we move together. A rallying cheer erupted around them, eyes glistening with unshakable unity. They meticulously planned every detail, voices rising in a symphony of laughter, anticipation, and courage. Jenna could feel the power in the room. It gave her chills, transformed her fears into flames of resolve. As they pushed through the doors of the meeting hall the next day, the atmosphere shifted. People had gathered, many holding banners painted the night before. The room felt alive, buzzing with anxious hope and determination. The heart of this community beats in this center, Jenna began as she stepped to the front, her voice steady, cutting through the anxious chatter. This center is not just bricks and mortar, it holds the stories of our families, of the laughter and tears, of unity and support. We cannot let it go. She could see the council members shift slightly in their seats, eyes beginning to open wider. A hand shot up from the crowd. Tyler, on tiptoes to be seen, started to recite memories of his friends playing soccer, the laughter echoing, and Mom taught us to be strong. Together we can do anything. The connection between them was electrifying. Other children chimed in, sharing tales of fun events held at the center, game nights, birthday celebrations, and community gatherings. Jenna felt an overwhelming sense of pride. Each story from her neighbors sent ripples of joy and truth through the crowd, the council members shifting now, expressions softening as the genuine love for their home poured forth. Then Doris, breaking the tension with newfound conviction, spoke boldly. We've worked hard. This community deserves to thrive together. I've seen every generation grow within these walls, and we won't let it go without a fight. Applause erupted, and one council member shifted, their facade slowly cracking. The voices rose higher until David stepped forward, summarizing their emotions beautifully. Let us not be defined by profit or loss, but by the love and connection we build. Let us invest in our future, together, as one united community. After a moment's pause, a council member spoke, a spark of realization lighting his eyes. What if we reconsider? What if we explore alternatives, build together instead of tearing down? Jenna's breath caught in her throat, the tension in the air felt like a dam on the verge of bursting. She looked around, saw hope shimmering in every face that surrounded her. Would this be the turning point they needed? Yes. There is power in unity. We want to collaborate, build a future, and make this center thrive for generations. Jenna's voice rang out, vibrating with hope. Slowly, nods of agreement cascaded through the crowd. A feeling of possibility swelled within Jenna, and she knew they had made a difference. In that moment, she felt it. A wave of emotion surged through her. They were no longer just neighbors, they were family. As the council adjourned for discussions, Jenna knew they had fought for their future, had shown resilience against the odds. And together, they had ignited the flicker of hope into a roaring flame. Tomorrow is a new day for us, she whispered to Tyler, who beamed up at her with bright eyes full of promise. Just as they stepped back into the light of the sun outside, Jenna's heart soared. She could already hear their laughter, their stories, and their voices carrying into the future together. The fight had changed them all, but more importantly, it had forged an unbreakable bond that would breathe new life into their community, one hug at a time. Now, will you stand with us? Join the movement to support communities like ours. Let's raise our voices together. You need to subscribe now to witness more transformative stories and events like this. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread this vital message. Comment your thoughts below. How did this story touch you? And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, we can inspire change.